Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone, the classic Twilight Zone, Season 1, Episode 13. It is called The Four of Us Are Dying. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, something you'd like to say, Tara, before I tell them what the episode's about?
Nope.
Nothing? Nothing at all?
Hope everyone's doing all right.
I guess that'll do for the small talk portion of the intro.
Yeah, no Marin open.
So yeah, Four of Us Dying. I remember the title of this one, but I didn't remember what it was about. And I think it kind of came back to me as I was watching it. It's about a character who I think the base character is named Archhammer, and he can shapeshift. Essentially, he can change his face to become someone else. And the episode is basically him using this ability to take money from people, to get out of trouble, to romance girls, and then he meets his untimely demise because he's wearing the wrong face at the wrong time. And that's the gist of the episode. So, Tara, did you enjoy The Four of Us Are Dying?
Yes, I did. I'm
But
still kind of in this mediocre place with these last couple of episodes, I think, but it's still enjoyable. What about you?
yeah, I liked the last one more than you did. But I actually agree that this one's in a more mediocre kind of middling
Hmm.
zone. I think the idea is good. I think there's some fun stuff in the second half of the episode. I think it suffers from almost the entire first half before the ad break being about this one scene where there's a little bit of the intro where he's like shaving and his face changes, and Rod Serling is explaining it. Which, by the way, we've been complaining about the new Twilight Zone and the reviews of the new one about how
Hmm.
the narration from Jordan Peele just kind of feels like this silly tacked on fluff. Whereas I was paying attention to Rod Serling's narration at the start of this one, say, okay, what makes this different? He actually explains a lot of how this is working. He actually says, hey, this guy can change his face. He does it in a fancy,
Yeah.
he's lyrical the way he says it, but he actually does give us information that's useful.
Right. Well, I think that's pretty consistent with what he's been doing when
Yeah,
we've been watching these. Like I do notice that he gives you the information that you need to be able to enjoy this in 25 minutes.
exactly. Yeah, he gives
He
exposition.
always sets up the character and like I think usually their motivation of some kind.
Yeah. Uh, so I wanted to point that out because I was thinking about it as this opening scene, but most of the first half takes place entirely at like a small club where he puts on the face of like a dead guy who and goes to find this dead guy's girlfriend, or I assume girlfriend rather than wife, but she's this
Hmm.
lounge singer, and he goes up to her after she's been singing and playing at the piano, and basically there's like a good 5 minutes of them talking to each other that is worthless because she never comes back in the episode. It's never relevant again for the whole episode.
No, I was kind of wondering if he was going to go meet her. I suppose he couldn't because when he leaves that bar, he does have a moment where he says, "Should I do it? Like, why not? It's a beautiful woman. I've never been with a beautiful woman like that before.
Hmm.
Like, this could really change things for me." But it's unclear if he still has the motivation to do it to try to meet her. Because I assume this whole thing takes place in the course of an evening.
More or less. Like I felt it was weird because, like, I get that you want to sell us that he uses his face to, because this sets up the idea that he takes a dead person's face to then use it for his advantage. In this case,
Yeah,
it's with a
and
woman.
you see him like he's got all these newspaper obituaries that
Hmm.
he's picking from. So he specifically only picks dead people.
Yeah, and you see how he uses it to. So, as an example to just set up what he does, this is fine. But I think it should have been like half the length at most as to what it is, and then get to what's in more of the second half of the episode where he actually gets into trouble because he's wearing the wrong face at the wrong time, and he kind of it's this crescendo of events. I feel like if it had focused more on the fun of that, I think it would be a better episode. There is good stuff, especially in the second half, but
I agree.
yeah,
I really like the second one he does where he becomes like a mob guy.
yeah, he's
I
just
like that whole scene a lot. I thought that was really good.
yeah, he becomes this mob guy who was killed and like double crossed out of his cut of the
Hmm.
money, and he shows up, and when he goes to the other mob boss guy, the guy looks like he's seen a ghost. Like literally, he's terrified because not
Yeah,
only is he dead, he's behind his death, and he's like scared of him. And
right. And he
he,
actually asks him like, "How are you here? How is this possible?" And he's just like, I'm a ghost, and tries to walk out. I like that. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, he tries to take
Um,
all the money and walks out, and then then two goons show up from the mob boss has,
mhm.
and they chase him out, and he has to go on the run. And I did think it was weird how when he like goes into an alley, I thought, okay, just get around a corner and change your face. He actually does this thing where he like stops at a dead end of an alley and goes, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, I'll change my face. I'm like, how is that? How did that take you time to think? This is clearly something you do all the time. Like, how did
Well,
this?
here's the thing I'm confused by. He seems to have to look at a face in
Hmm.
order to change. Like he has to see a face while he's doing the transformation in order to become it.
Yeah.
He can't just do it like without looking at a face. But you see him a couple of times where he becomes the first face that you see before he changes into the musician.
Hmm. I think
So is that his like true face
I
that
think
he's
so.
turning back to?
I
That he
think that
can,
I think that's how you explain it, is that he can always turn back to his original face anytime he wants.
but he can't do it in the end.
He has to
So the rules
concentrate.
are a little unclear to me,
Yeah.
that's all.
It's a little bit wishy-washy. He seems to has to concentrate, because his real face in the alleyway would have still saved him, because it'd still be different from the guy that they were chasing, the other
Right.
mob boss did. But instead he turns around and sees the boxer, and you could say, well, he didn't have a photo of someone, but the problem is that him taking time to realize that he should change his face isn't like, he doesn't think of the problem that he needs a face until after he has the realization that he should change his face. It's even
Yeah.
thinking that he should change his face that takes some time, and I thought that was really weird, because this is
Right, because
this is
that's his one strategy that
yeah,
he has for
this is
everything.
this is clearly how you get out of every situation. Why did this take you
Yeah.
time? And then even then, if we go back to what we just said, where okay, he can go into his original face with some thought at any time, then why not just do that? Because that would have equally saved you.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then he actually runs. This is a big coincidence. He goes round the corner as this boxer, and the guy operating the little newsstand turns out to be the boxer's father, but he's not seen him in
Mhm.
years because this guy, left and went away somewhere or whatever, and he tries to like confront him emotionally. He's like, "Oh, where have you been, son? Where have you been?"
Yeah.
And he just gives him this bullshit kind of non-answer to try and get away. Uh,
Luckily, he also has the same voice. Whatever. I'm okay with that anyway.
Yeah, yes, yes. Luckily, the voice always seems to match whoever he's meant to be. Because I actually think
Yes.
it'd be interesting if he didn't, and he had to be quiet, because if it would reveal that he's not really the person, right?
Right, right. Or you see him a lot of times he's wearing a hat. Like,
Mm,
I think it would be cool if he always wore a hat. That way you don't see his hair change either. Like, if it's just his face, that would make more sense than his hair becoming curly in one case and going back to straighter.
here's a question actually. I wonder actually if Rod Serling tells us too much at the start, because I'm thinking about the scene at the end of the nightclub scene where he comes out
Mhm.
and the guy who thinks he recognizes this dead dude runs out after him, and it's when he lights the match and sees his face, because he's in silhouette. He lights the match and then he sees it's not who
Yeah.
he thought it was. I almost wonder if that'd be a better moment for like a twist for us, if that's what told us he could change
Or
his
it could have
face.
been like a good intro. So instead of getting the long nightclub scene,
Mm.
we just get the short nightclub scene where he introduces himself. You think he's reuniting with this woman, and then when he leaves, you get the cigarette, and then the narration comes in.
Yeah, I think that actually might have been a better intro to the
Yeah.
episode,
So
because
you get that weird reveal. Yeah.
because as it is, that scene, even though I think it's really well shot, I like that scene and how it looks. I don't
Yeah.
actually think it
I like the
serves.
look of this episode a lot too. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was gonna say I don't actually think it serves much purpose though, because we already know that he can do this.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
shock of the
Yeah,
guys,
I was
you know,
expecting it.
yeah. So it's kind of weird in that sense. So there's a couple of weird creative choices that kind of like jumble it around. Yeah, they do this thing in the episode. You're mentioning how it looks, where whenever he's outside, it's like there's like a lot of neon signs like above
Yeah,
his
they're
head.
going for like the film noir thing. And I think it looks kind of cheap, almost like a high school play setup.
It kind of
But I
does,
actually
yeah.
really like it. I think it's a cool look still.
I
It's
think, yeah, I think it was trying to do this thing where it was like beyond just the noir thing, the idea that it can be so many people, there's so many options. So it's all these options of where he can go, all the neon
yeah.
signs. I think that's what they were going for. I do want to mention one little annoying thing in the visuals though. This is a technical thing only. Is
Mm.
3 times, maybe 4 in the episode, whenever it shows the motel sign or the hotel sign that's in neon, it does this thing where the camera kind of comes down and then stops on it. But for some
Yeah,
reason,
I thought my screen had frozen.
yeah, for
But then
some
it did it
reason,
again later. I'm like, oh no, that's just the choice.
instead of like actually just doing a shot where the camera comes down and then stops on it and stays there for a few seconds, which would be fine, it
They
does
freeze
this thing. Yeah, it comes down and then like cuts to a freeze frame of it, and it's really jarring. Like,
Yeah.
it looked bad the first time it happened, and then they did it like 3 times, and I was like, seriously,
Yeah.
guys, you
I
can.
noticed that too.
Yeah, so that was weird, but I mean that's a minor like nitpick. That's not a big deal, but it's something that stuck out to me. So after he's got his money, he goes back to the hotel, and a cop shows up looking for the original version, the original person that's on the run.
Hmm.
And he tries to arrest them, but when they go downstairs and they're going through the revolving door, he actually goes round in a full circle and then comes out as the boxer again.
Hmm.
Which, by the way, he didn't have to look at a photo for that. He just went back to that because he'd already done it.
Yeah. Again, the rules are a little bit, yeah.
And that is a
About
very
that.
that's a very quick transformation as well, because
It is.
it's just a revolving door going round one circle and that's it. He's done.
Yeah.
So he comes out, and then unfortunately, the father of the boxer has maybe followed him back to the hotel, and is standing with a gun. Unfortunately for him, this dad is so upset at his son that he wants to kill him. And by the way, Tara's not Connor. I'm just going to take that away. I've just noticed it.
Oh shoot.
just you know, just
If you're upset with me, you can still tweet at Connor.
You can tweet at Connor, yeah. Connor, your opinions on that Twilight Zone were absolutely atrocious. What are you doing? You stupid woman. That'll confuse him. He's so used to getting called a stupid ginger. That'll really confuse him.
Yeah, you can send all your stupid women comments to Connor Ryan at 94.
Yeah, so the guy shoots him. He dies because he was wearing the wrong face at the wrong time. And I don't think there's like a ton of messaging in this one beyond just that he's a chancer and doing this. Like if you're a bit of a con man and try to trick people into things without this power, it's going to end badly.
Yeah.
And I think this is just kind of, unless you read something in it that I didn't, that was a bit more.
I couldn't help but compare it to identity theft, even though that's clearly not what this is about, but it does kind of apply. Because at first he's only he's disguising himself as dead people. And there isn't too much of a consequence for doing that because they're not around. And he can read their bios before he does it. But when he disguises himself as someone who's living, he's taking on like the good and the bad of being that person, of trying to take someone's identity.
Yeah, I mean, maybe now you've said that, you're right. The boxer's the only one that he takes that's, I mean, we don't really know if he's alive or dead. We just assume he is because there's no reason to assume otherwise. But
yeah, I think when he's looking at the obituaries of just people, they're just faces. They're faces without a consequence. But when he takes the form of someone who's alive, there are consequences there. You don't know these. They're not just pictures; they are real people, and real people can get you. You know, it can get you in trouble if you don't know what their past is or what their situation is.
What's funny is, as much as it was probably a lot easier to steal someone's identity at this time, I have to imagine it had less consequences. Just because now everyone has like credit cards, debit cards. Like so many things are digital that if you steal someone's identity, you can do a lot of damage in a very quick space of time. And I'm not saying that you couldn't do damage at all at the time period, but you know, things were a bit more analog. It was a bit more, you know, go in person and sign something kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which
you get notarized that you're a real person.
Yes. So I just so I don't know if it was going for that, because I don't know if that was maybe something that was on the consciousness as much.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
I still couldn't help but make that leap.
Hey, sometimes
While I was watching it.
Sometimes you'll find that when you go back and watch something that's older, that even though they couldn't have possibly been talking about something, it still somehow applies and still makes sense in a modern context. So
Yeah.
no, that's a neat way of looking at it. As it is, I think it's got some fun elements. And once he's had to start changing his face to get himself out of trouble, it picked up a bit for me.
Yeah, some of the scenes, like I said, I really liked the mob stuff. I thought that whole scene was really fun. I think that was the best actor that they had to play the one of the four faces. Like he just had a lot of charisma and like he was fun to watch.
Yeah. I just wish that because we spent so much time with the women at the start that was relevant or came back. But even as I was watching the scene, I was kind of a little bit bored because it was just very generic. Oh yeah, I'm back, baby. We're going to run away together. There was nothing else. Like it didn't set up anything. It didn't.
Yeah, I mean, she never really left my mind while I was watching the episode because I kept thinking that maybe he was doing all this in order to meet her at the end or
Yeah, I was thinking
something. And then she doesn't show up. And I still kind of felt bad, like, oh, she's gonna be waiting for him and he's not gonna be there. That sucks. Because he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess don't take shortcuts. Don't like. There's some very broad things you can take from it. I don't know if there's maybe a strict message that's very specific, and if there is one that we've not sussed out, by all means do tell us in the comments.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear interpretations of it.
it's still fun though. I thought it's still a fun episode.
It's a fun episode, but I think there's been we've had like a good. I'd say half the episodes we've done are great. Out of 13, I'd say about half of them have been great. I think this one's only kind of
It's been a really strong season. Yeah. So far,
this one's just it's good. It's good. It's got some
I think
problems.
we're only like a third of the way through season 1. Also, doesn't it have like 30 something episodes?
Yeah, they all have 36 episodes except season 4, which they changed it to a 40-50 minute show. So there's like half the episodes. So that'll be a fun season to do when we get there.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen any of the episodes that are longer than 30 minutes. So,
but 36, I mean, that's like 2/3 of a year to get through one season. So we'll be doing this a while. Like we're settling in. Bored the
still
Twilight
less
Zone
work than
train.
Rod Serling had to do for one season of show. Jeez.
Oh God, yeah. Can you imagine producing 36 episodes? I mean,
Writing all that fluff in the beginning.
I suppose the one thing that makes it easier than a serialized show is that you can literally go and shoot like 5 of these at the same time because they're all different actors, they're all different crew, potentially. I mean, some of them is sure crew. I'm sure some directors came back. I'm sure some other people stuck around, but like you can film multiples of these at the same time, whereas you can't necessarily do that in the same way with whatever take any other show basically.
Yeah, any kind of serialized show.
Yeah,
sure.
So. Yeah, I mean, you can shoot things out of order, of course, and you can work in multiple episodes at a time if you have different, characters who aren't in certain scenes, but ultimately your main characters will be in each episode, so you have to do chunks of it in order. Mm-hmm. So, that's what it is. Because network TV, even at like 22 episodes, network TV is such a hectic lifestyle because you'll find that they'll be doing post-production on like 2 episodes that have finished shooting whilst they're shooting the next one, and then the next batch will be written around that time. Like there's like a constant cycle of just happening.
Yeah,
I do not pity anyone who has to schedule that shit, not at all.
No.
Or I do pity them.
Yeah,
sorry.
I can't imagine 36 episodes.
I sympathise with it. That's what I meant to say. That would sound really cruel. I don't pity them. Yeah, do your job. Yeah, production managers.
I pity them a little. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm sympathetic. I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Four of Us Are Dying's an okay episode with some fun stuff. Some things don't quite make sense. I think the first half is maybe a bit too slow and doesn't have enough in it. The real meat comes in the second half though, when it starts playing with what you can do with it, like how would they use it, and get in and out of situations, that kind of thing.
I agree,
but a bit contrived in places. Like, the fact that he runs into this guy's dad right round the corner, and then the fact that guy's dad wants to kill him and is right outside the hotel at the end.
Oh, and the music.
There you go.
The music in the episode was composed by Jerry Goldsmith.
Presumably quite a young and spry Jerry Goldsmith early on in his career.
Yeah, that was really surprising.
Because I don't know. I mean, I could just check what his birthday is, I suppose. But he, because he's passed away now. A good few years ago now, but he was still scoring movies into the early 2000s at least. So, I mean, I think most people know him mainly from Alien, and of course, the same year as Alien, he did Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which I know Tara's going to be pissed if I don't mention. He also did Supergirl, and fun bit of trivia: he was originally supposed to do Superman, and some scheduling thing happened, and Richard Donner had to do with John Williams. He just had to make do. Oh, you'll do it, I
darn.
guess.
You only got one of the greatest pieces of music composition ever.
yes. You find me a human being under a certain age who can't do 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 do
I
do
already feel so
do.
powerful.
I know, I
Yeah.
know. It's uplifting. It's great. Um, and I'm going to be controversial. Might be John Williams' best score. I'm just going to say.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite.
I think it's Superman, Jurassic Park, and then maybe I'll give you Star Wars after that. But Superman, Jurassic Park.
I mean, he only makes gold.
Oh, that's good stuff. So yeah, so we'll find out what's coming next time because obviously at the end, Rod Serling sits down. It says it's going to be a cosmic-y thing. It's on the eve of Doomsday. The name of the episode, if I just click next on IMDb here and it's called Third from the Sun. It was just funny because me and Tara just on an ace recently started talking about Third Rock from the Sun and like talked about it for like 10 minutes. It was just
Yeah,
really
we were gushing about it.
yeah, so it's just really funny that Third from the Sun is like the next Twilight Zone. Third
We
from the
have to
Sun.
take this seriously.
Here's the description of this. Two families of government employees plan to steal a spaceship and travel to another planet just prior to a nuclear war. They must also deal with a stooge who wants to stop them. Now, I don't remember this episode, but this sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does. I recognize the title, but I don't recognize the description. So I guess it'll be a new one for me.
Yeah, I'm down for this. That'll be next week's Twilight Zone. I'm looking forward to it.
Exciting.
But yeah, this has been the Four of Us Are Dying. So let us know what you thought of the episode of Twilight Zone in the comments below. You can like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, you can head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. We can support us for as little as $1 per month. You get some bonuses, some early stuff, some exclusives, including these Twilight Zones, and you get other stuff at the $5 tier and up, and so on and so on. So if you want to keep the reviews coming, show us that you love us, you can go do that. But obviously, liking, comment, and subscribing, all those things do help. Give us a nice review on your podcast app, all that kind of thing. And if I want to promote other content, I would maybe throw in a couple of suggestions here. One, me and Tara are doing the new Twilight Zones and reviewing those, so those are obviously worth checking out. Those are a lot more negative.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately, yes. Also worth mentioning our sci-fi movie podcast, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, aka the Ace. Me and Tower do that, and we've been doing a movie every week. We're about 6 episodes in, I think. Probably more by the time this goes up, actually, because we're recording this a few ahead, so we'll probably be up at like 8 or 9 episodes by the time this goes out. So check out that on YouTube as well as its own podcast feed, and then check out Star Trek reviews. Me and Cara have been working through Star Trek. We're on Next Generation season 1. We did all the original series, so you might be interested to see what our thoughts as we go through it. And they're mostly fresh, completely, new thoughts. We don't know what's going to happen. In fact, I will say at the time of recording, and this will already be up for a couple of weeks by the time you get this episode of Twilight Zone, but we did an episode called The Skin of Evil. Just today I recorded that with Connor, and let's just say you'll be happy that 2 of us didn't know what that episode was, or that's how a certain thing happened, because we were gobsmacked, and you can go and get our reactions to that. So
Armis is not a puddle that you want to step in.
a puddle
of evil.
It's not even the first puddle this year that's pissed me off in a movie or a TV show. So anyway, that's been us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys, in the Twilight Zone.